This episode of Settle the Score is sponsored by Sky Sports. Stream Sky Sports flexibly on Now. What you want, when you want, no fuss. Go to nowtv.com to start streaming Sky Sports today. Hello and welcome to Settle the Score. The Premier League season is back. Let's get right into it then. Manchester United versus Arsenal. The Gooners did take the 1-0 win, and guess what? Another set piece from Arsenal. It can't be more of the same, surely. Joining me to look back on all of the action from Old Trafford is Harry Symeou of Chronicles of a Gooner and Brian Murphy from the Simply Red podcast. Lads, how are we getting on?
Yeah, good. First win of the season. You know, it's back underway. You can't complain, can you? You take the 3 points and you move on.
Brian, I heard you had a little bit of an issue getting back from Old Trafford yesterday all the way to the Emerald Isle. What happened?
Yeah, they decided to add to my woes and delay the flight for two and a bit hours and give me the bed at 2 a.m. instead of a nice, comfortable half 11, 12 o'clock. But look, it is what it is. Football's back. Season's back. We're back into reality of life again, travelling for football all over the place. Can't beat it.
And we do anything for our football club, for our national team at the same time as well. I want to start with Arsenal. Obviously, Manchester United being the home team, you should start there. But Arsenal picked up all 3 points. 3 points secured. You did get away with it, though, didn't you? David Raya, I mean, you need to up his wages after that.
Well, that's why he was brought into the club, because he was an upgrade on what we already had. You know, he's comfortable in sort of coming out and dealing with crosses. He makes brilliant saves. He dwells on the ball a little bit too much with it at his feet at times for my liking. That's just the fan speaking. You know, you feel nervous during the game at times when he takes risks like that. But overall, he's been an amazing addition. And you saw that again yesterday. The two goalkeepers were worlds apart. And ultimately, that's where the game was decided. Look, it wasn't vintage Arsenal. It wasn't a pretty performance. I thought in an attacking sense, we lacked a lot. There wasn't really that creative spark. There wasn't really a punch in the final third. But after some early tactical issues, I would say, Arsenal managed to sort of control the game a little bit better. Now, Man United were good and they were better than they were last season and they were more energetic. But this kind of whole thing of like, you know, they were the better team and they lost. Like, I mean, they were better than Arsenal, but they still weren't good enough to make Arsenal pay. And that's the reality of the situation. So, you know, Arsenal have gone up to Old Trafford on the opening day. People aren't 100% fit. The team is still finding its feet. Different dynamic in midfield, new striker up front, different options on the flanks as well. And Arsenal are trying to figure it out. But the important thing is, if you want to be in this title race, you've got to keep the pace. And by winning at Old Trafford, despite not playing particularly well, Arsenal stay in touch with the top. And I know it's the first week of the season, but that's how important it is to stay in the hunt, you know, from the very beginning. So praise to Arsenal for digging deep and finding a way. Man United were better, but ultimately they still weren't good enough to take anything from the game.
H, I mentioned about the set pieces at the top there as well. I mean, Stoke got the nickname of Stoke. Did I say Stoke got the nickname of Stoke? Arsenal got the nickname of Stoke last season for all of their set-piece goals that they scored. Will fans be frustrated if it's more of the same this season? I know there was injury issues last season, but I mean, Arsenal fans, if you're seeing what Liverpool are producing, what Manchester City produced against Wolves at the weekend as well, they have the ability there to play some really, really tidy football. I mean, will that bother fans if you're just still grinding out results?
Well, when the likes of Stoke and Bolton used to take points off of us and we used to moan about the type of football they played, everybody used to say, stop crying. There's nothing wrong with set pieces. Set pieces are a part of football. It's funny how when Arsenal score from set pieces, all of a sudden it's an issue and people have got to sort of criticise their style of play. Listen, it's a weapon that Arsenal have in their armoury, okay? You don't want to see your team being too reliant on those situations. Obviously, you want to see your team play better football and be more creative in the final third. No doubt about that. But it's something that Arsenal have in their locker. And when they're not playing well, they can kind of reach into the locker and they can pull that out. And that's what we saw again yesterday. Teams have got to be stronger defending against Arsenal. You know what they're going to do by now, yet nobody seems to be able to stop it. So you got to give Arsenal praise for staying sharp in that sense. If they continue to struggle to create in the final third, and this is something that we see very, very often, then yes, Arsenal fans will be concerned because they'll say, is it sustainable? Can you keep picking up points playing this way and being so heavily reliant upon those types of situations? But at this stage, it's the first game of the season. We didn't play very well. It didn't click, but we found a way to win. So when it's a sort of infrequent thing, then you go, great, you found the way, you got over the line. If it's happening every week, then we're going to have another conversation. But for now, I'm not worried about it or concerned about it at all. And I don't think any Arsenal fan should be.
Victor Gyökeres wasn't really able to get a foothold in the game. Started up top for Arsenal. You always see the graphics off the back of the game as well. How many shots, how many touches in the opposition half did they have? I mean, you've always got a target on your back when you're a new striker coming for big money in the Premier League. Was it down to a lack of service or Manchester United's strong back line? Because I thought De Ligt last night was absolutely sensational.
Well, first of all, in terms of the stick that Victor Gyökeres got, Ruben Amorim wanted him. Man United fans, I'm sure, would have been interested in him over the summer. We were linked with Sesko. There was that narrative, wasn't there, of Sesko going to Man United and Gyökeres going to Arsenal, and should it have been the other way round? Blah, blah, blah. That added to the sort of heat that Victor Gyökeres got, I thought, from the Old Trafford crowd. But why didn't he flourish? I think it was down to a combination of things, Harry. He wasn't sharp enough, fit enough. Understandable, because he's behind everybody else in terms of the pre-season that he had. He missed a fair chunk of it while he was waiting for that move to go through. So you understand that. But I think the team have to adapt to him as well as him adapting to the team. He made runs into the channels. He peeled off defenders at points, and he just wasn't picked out quick enough. Arsenal need to get used to playing with an out-and-out number 9. He needs to get used to what's happening around him. I think it's just teething problems at the moment. I'm not overly concerned. He had a couple of moments in possession where he ought to have done better. And of course, there was ironic cheers around Old Trafford when he misplaced the cross and tripped over himself when he tried to cut inside off that left flank. But I'm not worried about it. We know the guy can score goals. We've all seen it before. And it's just a matter of time, in my opinion, before he clicks at Arsenal.
Right, let's get the Manchester United thoughts. Brian, obviously Benjamin Šeško came on off the bench. How badly, off the back of that Victor Gyökeres performance? You were definitely cheering and jeering him, weren't you, when he tripped over his own feet? How badly did you want Benjamin Šeško to come on and score a goal just to, not prove the doubt is wrong, but to get one over Victor Gyökeres at Arsenal?
Yeah, it would have been poetic if it happened. Look, Victor, I'm listening to Harry telling us about yesterday's game, and I'm hearing some lovely excuses about fitness and we're behind everyone else, and Gyökeres is behind everyone because he went on strike because he couldn't get his move and he wouldn't play football or wouldn't join his club. So probably is a bit behind, given the fact he gave up on football for the summer to force his move. But yeah, I suppose in the context, look, Harry, we have the same issue in that we're starting the season just like you are. Everyone's a little bit cold. Fitness is in question. Thought we battered you off the pitch, to be honest about it. We should have taken the win. David Raya turned into Lev Yashin out of nowhere. He was absolutely sensational. And like you rightly said, Harry, he should be looking for a new contract after that performance, because that was absolutely brilliant. But we ended up with Papadon wrists and side goals. He palmed one into the back of the net. So that didn't do us any favours. I know Ruben came out and defended him, which, look, fair enough. He's got to defend these players. But I thought we were really good, really compact around the pitch, really professional performance. Dominated stats, dominated possession. Just couldn't get the job done. Fair enough. But strangely optimistic after losing 1-0 to boring Arsenal, yeah.
Mate, there were so many positives. Obviously, I'm coming at it from the neutral view. It'll be different when Manchester United play Fulham next weekend. But, I mean, when you looked at the way that you would counter-attack and also break at the same time, Cunha and Mbeumo, the partnership could be so scary. We think about great sort of like striker and forward partnerships over the decades in the Premier League. And I know it's only one game, and I know it's only one competitive game. But if they click with each other, these two could be absolute dynamite, couldn't they?
I'm really looking forward to the dynamic between Cunha, Mbeumo and Šeško, and see how that lines up. See what Bruno Fernandes can do inside in that mix as well. So it's an interesting forward line going forward. Just, I suppose we've been hurt before, so I'm slow to get too excited. But I'm very, very interested to see how it works out. But if it does click, like you say, they could do damage big time. I mean, you saw what they could do yesterday on their first competitive game. Link up was good, pace was good, energetic. Good ideas, just I suppose lacking that bit of clinical finishing. Again, like Harry said, it is the start of the season. Everyone's trying to find their feet a little bit, so I wasn't expecting too much from anybody really. But thought we got a good performance based on what we saw last season. Many games last season we came out of the ground and you're like, oh my God, not another one of those. Didn't feel that leaving yesterday. I thought it was a bit more optimistic, a bit more professional. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how we can build on that. Use that as a springboard going forward. Right now, use that as the baseline. That's how we've done against a team that are the bridesmaids of the Premier League, that are in and around that kind of position where they're almost good enough to win the league. But you know, a 15th Man United last season, doing that to Arsenal was quite interesting since we're so bad. But yeah, it'll be a good season ahead, I think.
Harry, I mean, bridesmaid and never the bride. You're a married man, so you've always you've been the groom, and you've probably been the best man as well. But how does it make you feel when you hear that about Arsenal?
I mean, I think it's rich coming from a team that finished 15th in the Premier League last season and haven't been anywhere near it for many years. Look, I think, we've been away to relegation candidates before and been up against it at times. That's the nature of the Premier League, isn't it? It's very competitive and teams get in and among each other. Look, I'll say it again. Manchester United were much improved, but the bar wasn't exactly high, was it? Based on what we saw from them last season, they were energetic, they were powerful at times, they were really physical. I thought they got stuck in. They were really committed to the cause, but ultimately, again, they lacked quality. Now, if we're going to talk about Arsenal lacking quality in the final third yesterday, we have to say the same thing about Man United. And you can talk about Cunha and you can talk about Mbeumo all you like, but are they really Manchester United standard players, or has the standard at Manchester United dropped so far that they now are? That's the kind of question, isn't it? But people can say what they like about Arsenal. Arsenal have been incredibly competitive now for a number of years. Champions League semi-finalists last season, which was a big step forward for us in that competition. We're feeling good about the season, and the fact that we're grinding out results even when we're not playing well. I'm only going to see that and take that as a positive.
Brian, just a quick one, mate, before we finish up. Bayern needed to be stronger. We know that for the Ricardo Calafiori opener and the only goal of the game. There's been links to a new goalkeeper coming in this window. I mean, there's conversations of Gianluigi Donnarumma, whose time at PSG is over, and also I don't know if it's just paper talk. I'm guessing that it is that David De Gea might be coming back to Manchester United. Onana wasn't in the squad yesterday, and Ruben Amorim backed himself up and said it wasn't anything to do with him being dropped. It was just like fitness issues and he hadn't played a lot of pre-season. But you can't really rely on Bayern if you kind of want to kick on for the rest of the season. Do you think you're going to bring in another keeper before the window's up?
Do I think we are? I don't know. Would I like to? Absolutely, yes. I don't think we can depend on Andre Onana if we want to take that next step up. He's not strong enough for me. I've been to too many games and I've seen too many instances of him throwing away points, quite literally throwing the ball in the back of the net. Bayern is. It's really strange to see a guy come in who's his national team's number one keeper and be so poor. I mean, he's absolutely no backup whatsoever. Tom Heaton, look, his days are behind him in the sense of being a number one keeper for a Premier League side. So he's only there more so for the coaching and that. But then you look at Donnarumma. What's his wages? Are they talking 350,000 pounds a week? That's not the dynamic we're looking for. It's not the mindset that United are trying to play at the moment. So we're trying to change that coming to United for money ethos. Can't see Donnarumma coming and David De Gea coming back. Someone showed me that screenshot from some report last night in the airport when I was feeling a little bit less than optimistic about life. And I just thought, oh, come on, we're not there again, are we? So someone's surely trying to sell papers on a Sunday night or a Monday morning. So, David De Gea is not coming back. David De Gea came back last week or 2 weeks ago for a friendly, but it's the only return you're going to see from David De Gea United.
Lads, just to finish up then, quick fire, no explanation. Harry, I'm going to start with you. This is the opposing thought on the other club. Where are Manchester United going to finish this season? What's going to happen? Really quick, one sentence, go.
They're going to finish 7th. They're going to improve, but not enough to break into the Champions League places.
Brian, on Arsenal as well, will they win their first title since the Invincibles?
No.
That was such a quick sentence, Brian. You both understood the memo. But Brian, where are they going to finish? Is it still going to be the bridesmaid and never the bride? Is it going to be a second place finish? Or, Arsenal will be in the top 4, but do they finish in 3rd or 4th?
I think they'll be between 2nd and 3rd. I don't see them getting over the line again. And I think there's going to be question marks over Arteta at the end of the season again. Is he going to be able to deliver that trophy? I can't see him doing it.
Thank you very much to Harry Symeou of Chronicles of a Gooner and Brian Murphy of the Simply Red podcast. This episode of Set to the Score is brought to you by Sky Sports. Stream Sky Sports flexibly on now. What you want, when you want, no fuss. Go to nowtv.com to start streaming Sky Sports today.